All right, Patrick, thank you. Well, Rhode Island may be the smallest state, but as many of us know, it has some of the tallest tales and some larger-than-life legendary people. Author M.E. Reilly-McGreen has written 2 books of stories going into the background of Rhode Island's most rebellious and wild men and women, most recently releasing the book about the men. It's entitled Revolutionaries, Rebels, and Rogues of Rhode Island. And Mary Beth Reilly-McGreen is joining us on the show today to talk more about this very interesting book we have here. So what made you interested in compiling these stories? I mean, some of them are pretty hilarious and surprising, aren't they?
Yes, I had written a book the year before, Witches, Wenches, and Wild Women of Rhode Island.
I love the title. Yeah.
And in the course of doing that, you know, for every woman, I would find an equally compelling story about a man, not necessarily a man that was connected to that woman in any way, but just in the course of research. So I ended up kind of, you know, saving all of these other stories and saying, you know, oh, I'll have to do something with these. So the first book came out, it did well. Yeah. The History Press, which is the publisher, asked if I had, you know, an idea for a second, and it was just a natural complement to what I'd already done.
Let's get into some of the characters that are in there. I mean, we all know who Gilbert Stuart is, obviously a major name in Rhode Island, having done that famous portrait of George Washington. But what did you find out about him? What kind of a man was he like to work with?
He was kind of what we anticipate a brilliant artist being. He was very egomaniacal. He was a wonderful conversationalist, and his people who sat for him really enjoyed sitting for him. Even John Adams, the president, who really hated having his portrait done, said of Gilbert Stuart, I can sit and talk with him all day. Oh, wow. So that was a huge compliment. From the last time we painted John Adams, John Adams was in his 90s, so to receive a compliment from a president who didn't like to be, you know, sitting for a painter was quite an honor.
And what about Cornelius Vanderbilt? So we know he's a legendary businessman, but he never lived in Newport. So how did he get tied? How did his name get tied into the city by the sea?
It was the 3rd generation of Vanderbilt who, through the tremendous because Cornelius Vanderbilt was such a tremendous businessman, of course, the money lasted long after he died, and it was the 3rd generation who built all of the beautiful mansions
during the Gilded Age and all
that we have today. And I wonder, having researched him, what he would have thought of the spending that went on of his money.
Burning right through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we want to let everybody know real quick that you have an event at the Warwick Barnes & Noble. Tell us quickly the time and what's going on.
At 6:30 tonight, I will be at the Warwick Barnes & Noble, and we're going to be talking, I'm going to be part of a larger group of authors. Each of us will be talking for a few minutes about our books. Yes.
All right, so the book is Revolutionaries, Rebels, and Rogues of Rhode Island, and we're going to give you a link to this book as well as her previous book. We love this one, The Witches, Wenches, and Wild Women of Rhode Island. You can find it at foxprovidence.com.